So let's start with looking at center of mass for two particles. So we're starting with two particles, then we'll move on to n particles eventually. Okay guys, and after that n particles, yes, but their distribution is continuous. So I hope you guys can see the pattern over here. So the same pattern is followed pretty much everywhere in physics to teach any complex concept, Okay, so we have an xy plane, and in this plane I have two particles. The system is made up of two particles. I can just do this. So they are made up of two particles. Now, so we have the position of the first particle to be with R1, represented by R1 or R1 and R2. So this is R1 and say this is R2. And this has a position of M2 and this has a position of M1. And connecting them is a line. And somewhere along this is our R. Say this is heavier, right? R center of mass. So let's call this as say O. Let me change the color. This is O. This is P2. Say this is C and this is P1. Okay guys, so let's start with, let's consider two particles P1 and P2 with mass M1 and M2 and position vector R1 and R2. Okay. Then the position vector of center of mass is given by, okay, so we kind of already have seen this, is M1 R1 plus M2 R2, this entire expression divided with M1 plus M2. Okay, yes. So this is your vector form, right? Then in coordinate form, so same thing. We have along the x-axis, it would be M1 x1 plus M2 x2, this entire expression divided with M1 plus M2, right? You can see the pattern over here. Since it's one dimensional, I'm not using the vector representation. So M1 y1 plus, I'm not putting the arrow, that's all I meant. So this is because direction is fixed now. It's either left or right, up and down. So this is to do with your two particle system. Okay, so we'll be deriving this, but you need to have a decent understanding of what we're dealing with. So when we're talking about center of mass, we are looking at a location, right? Again, I'll go back to this video, right? This all to do with location, like they tell now. That was a bad joke. Yeah, can you see that? When I hit it, the entire thing rotated around a single point. Can you see that? Right? Somewhere over here. So now with that, if I hit, the object moves straight. Okay, so there, all of that, everything is interconnected over there. So that location is what we are trying to figure out. So that location for object which is for a system which is made up of two objects interlinked by a very thin massless rod, or uniform rod. Let's consider that. So the point C, we can find that point C. The position of that point C can be found with this formula. Here your R1 and R2 are the position vector. I hope you guys remember the idea of position vectors. And if you want to put it in a coordinate form, if you want to find it part by part, we can also use this as well. Okay. So let's derive this. Let's understand all of this. So from 2 points, we'll move on to n points. From there, we'll move on to handling things like this. A pencil, a rod, a cylinder, a disc, things like that. Okay. So you have to pause and write everything over here.